Ian Garry has the opportunity to pull off a huge upset in this fight, and the cuck allegations are not going to stop him. Now, there are many men who will be tuning in to watch this because they specifically want to see Ian Garry lose, right? Now, me, as a practitioner of MMA, I understand that if somebody is a homosexual, somebody's straight, somebody who's a cuck, whatever, it doesn't matter. If you train for a certain amount of time, if you have a certain type of athleticism, all of these things can aid in you being able to beat up another man. Your sexual orientation doesn't determine that. I had to come to terms with this myself as a straight male years ago. I remember watching this fight. I think it was a regional promotion in the UK, FCC or something like that. And one of my mates was like, yo, watch this guy. So I watched him and he beat this other guy up. I think I was about a year's training, like 1 year's worth of training. And he was like, yo, you know this guy is a homo, right? And I was just like, rah, really? And he was like, yeah. And this guy whooped on this dude. So I was thinking, oh my goodness. But the reality is, so what? Right? So what? If somebody's a homo, if somebody's a cuck, it doesn't make you any less of a man just because somebody like this can beat you up. That's not good to have that mindset. If somebody's straight, homo, or a cuck, or whatever, if they've been training in MMA for 10, 15, 20 years, they are more than likely going to be able to beat you up if you don't have that level of experience. But you shouldn't feel any less than because of it. You shouldn't feel embarrassed about that. Most of the homosexuals in MMA anyway are closeted, so you'll never really know. But there are rumours around certain UFC fighters who are homosexual, bisexual, whatever. So what? Right? If they can beat you up, they can beat you up. You know what I'm saying? And I find it funny how a lot of guys are like, oh no, please don't let Ian Garry win. Please. Come on, Islam Makhachev, beat this guy up for us. You don't know who's a homo or who's not. There are some people who are homo who may look extremely masculine on the outside and you wouldn't even know. You wouldn't even know. So there's no point hanging on to this, right? There's no point. Right? If Ian Garry wins, he will be the world champion at welterweight. And there's nothing that me or you can do about that. Now, personally, I'm not going to lie and say I like what he represents as a person. I'm not going to lie. Regarding the whole thing with his wife and the cuck allegations and things like that, I'm not a fan of that. But I'm not going to sit here and pretend that he can't fight just because of those things. That just doesn't make sense. And there are people like that. There are people who are like, oh, I can't let this faggot win. And I'm sure there are fighters out there who are like that, who maybe find out that certain opponents of theirs swing the other way, if they're straight, right? And so they might be like, I can't let this faggot win. I can't let this faggot beat me up. If he beats you up, then what? If you lose that fight, then what? What are you going to do? Commit suicide? No, you're going to get up, train, right? Live to fight another day. Right, it happens. Now, I'm not going to pretend I support the homosexual lifestyle or a cuck lifestyle or anything like that. I'm definitely not a supporter of that. But I can recognise talent and physical abilities. And you can give credit to where credit is due, right? Now, do I think Ian Garry is going to win? That's another question. I think he presents extreme problems for Islam Makhachev, I'm not going to lie. I think he does. But I don't think he will get the job done. I'm not saying he can't, because he definitely can, but I don't think he will, based off of Islam Makhachev's resume, his skill set that you can see on display, the things that you hear about him in the gym, how strong he is, his wrestling pedigree, his grappling pedigree. All of these things that I don't think Ian Garry has ever faced before. Now, you could argue that Islam Makhachev has never faced anybody like Ian Garry before, right? That's probably true. I think I've not seen every single one of Islam Makhachev's fights. But it would seem like, at least recently, from what I can remember, he hasn't faced anybody with Ian Garry's stature, his fighting style, his ability to keep people at range with his punches and his kicks. That vicious oblique kick that I've seen him do. That oblique kick is nasty. when I've seen Ian Garry throw that on people, I'm thinking, I think it's actually more stabbing than John Jones. Like, John Jones is known for that kind of technique, right? The way Ian Garry throws it, at least initially, whilst he's got power and is fresh, he seems to actually stab it, almost like a sidekick on his opponent's knee. John Jones does it as well, but it doesn't look as... I'm not trying to say it doesn't look as devastating, it definitely does. But I feel like the way John Jones throws it, it's almost like a keep them at bay technique. Whilst it can cause a lot of damage, and it has, I've definitely seen that. When he fought Rampage Jackson and he kept on throwing it out there, and obviously Rampage Jackson would attest to this. He said his knee's never been the same ever since that fight. But I still would say the way I've seen Ian Garry throw it, it's almost beyond evil, is the way I would describe that. The way John Jones throws it is evil. The way Ian Garry throws it is beyond evil. Let me put it that way. It's going to be an interesting fight.